Okay, like real quick couple of questions. What was on the boat? Like what was in those containers? 'Cause it was carrying almost 5,000 containers, so like what was on the boat? What was on the boat? Like I haven't done a ton of digging into this specific company, but I guess their owner was like found in their car. So like what was on the boat? And it was going to this place, which yeah, what what was on the boat? What was on the boat? Because it's rumored that this port is like one of the biggest hubs for this type of activity. So like, what was on the boat? And then for this guy to come out and say, what was it that he said? Oh right, the federal government is going to fund the rebuild. So basically like you and I, taxpayers, are gonna pay for them to put this building. But that's a shipping giant, which definitely has insurance. Why aren't they making an insurance claim where they can like do an investigation to figure out what happened to the boat? What was
Welcome back. The mainstream media is now attributing anything linked to that bridge as a conspiracy theory. When you take a look at this article recently put out by NBC, unfounded conspiracy theories spread online after Baltimore Bridge collapse. When you go down the article, outlandish conspiracy theories circulated on X after a container ship colluded with a major bridge in Maryland, causing it to collapse early Tuesday morning. The ship hit a supporting structure of the Francis Scott Bridge, which is located southeast of the Baltimore metropolitan area.
Set that cost. We'll see what that looks like with Congress. But Mr. Secretary, I have to ask you about something that I guess we shouldn't be surprised by anymore, but almost immediately after this ship hit this bridge and the bridge collapsed, there were these wild conspiracy theories about what really happened. I mean, they ranged from a cyber attack to the captain having side effects from the COVID vaccine. They even blamed the Obamas at one point. And I just wonder, as a sitting cabinet secretary, if you ever thought that you'd have to combat something like that when dealing with a crisis.
You know, we're in the business of dealing with roads and bridges and sometimes ships and trains. We are not in the habit as a Department of Transportation of being in the business of dealing with conspiracies or conspiracy theories or that kind of wild thinking. But unfortunately, it is a fact of life in America today. What's really upsetting, of course, is that when misinformation or disinformation circulates, that is not without victims. Remember, this is a human tragedy. 6 people lost their lives, and everybody from dock workers to commuters in Baltimore is wanting and needing good information about how this is going to impact them. And we as a department need good factual information about how this happened so that we can include that in future decisions on everything from maritime and shipping policy to bridge design for the 2030s and 2040s. All of that requires being grounded in fact. And that's what we're doing. That's why I admire and respect the independent work of the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, which is really just ignoring all of the speculation, rumor, and disinformation, making sure that we have a completely factual base of information to use as a country, to use as a government, to guide better decisions, and get to the bottom of every piece of how this could have happened.
Secretary.
Baltimore Mayor Scott accuses critics of not having the courage to say the N-word after he was branded the DEI mayor following the fatal Francisco Scott Key Bridge collapse this week. There is something going on. I knew race issue will be coming in. Now they are calling to rename this bridge because the owner, that is Scott Key, was a slave owner. According to this article, when the bridge in MD is rebuilt, rename it because Francis Scott Key was a slave owner. That is what is going on now. This is not what I should be saying. An investigation should be carried out where they should look into what happened. What I'm seeing on social media, this kind of talks should not be our concern. It is beyond our reason. I've seen a lot of people talk about cyber attack. Those are kind of things I should see, I should see them going deep to investigate. It is actually beyond what we were thinking. If care is not taken, a lot will happen. It is high time people should see what is going on. I've seen people everywhere on social media talking about this. It is important we take an exclusive look into all this.
If you choose to do so, to respond to the tomfoolery and attacks on you for having the nerve to be black and also a mayor?
Well, I think, listen, I know, and we all know, and you know very well, that black men and young black men in particular have been the boogeyman for those who are racist and think that only straight, wealthy white men should have a say in anything. We've been the boogeyman from them since the first day they brought us to this country. And what they mean by DEI, in my opinion, is duly elected incumbent. We know what they want to say, but they don't have the courage to say the N-word. And the fact that I don't believe in their untruthful and wrong ideology, and I am very proud of my heritage and who I am and where I come from, scares them, because me being at my position means that their way of thinking, their way of life of being comfortable and suffering, and while everyone else suffers, is going to be at risk, and they should be afraid, because that's my purpose in life.
And by the way, you know, the coded racism, before we even knew the nationalities of the men, Maria Bartiromo was out there talking about open borders and trying to somehow signal that they wanted to go after the brown people too, because of course that is their other target. We know that the men who were doing this hard construction work overnight, trying to fix the potholes on this bridge, working very hard, were Latino. And so that's now on the table too. We know that this ship, which came from Singapore, was piloted by a very heroic crew from India whose Mayday call saved lives, not maybe saved lives, but did. So this is a full-throated attack.
Do you know what is more funny? Joe Biden says his Secretary of Transportation has arrived in Baltimore, so Biden sent Mayor Pete to Baltimore less than 24 hours after the Key Bridge collapsed. But wait a week to send this same man to East Palestine, Ohio. This is because Baltimore vote Democrat. You can see the double standard here. We saw what happened in Maui. It took them a long time to pay a visit to this area. Now, less than 24 hours, we are seeing this happening. This is to clearly show you. Yes, when you take a look at this tweet this lady sent out, how is it that officials rule out terrorism so quickly in the bridge collapse before they even conducted an investigation? Seem too convenient. Don't you have to actually conduct an investigation in order to rule out whether or not something was an act of terrorism, or are people really just going to take Pete and Biden at their own word? That is a question Laura is asking. Another person wrote, they want us to forget about East Palestine. They want us to forget about British Columbia. They want us to forget about Maui. And now they want us to forget about Baltimore. And so they keep wasting money on foreign aid while our own people suffered. That is another user on X sending out this message. We have seen what happened in Maui, East Palestine, and something like this has just happened again. Biden addressing it, stir up a lot of reactions on social media. Like the way they are fast in this case, it therefore means because this place is voting for Biden, you will see their reaction now very fast. That's to clearly tell you how Democrats operate.
Stock 5, decaying 6.